And hello and welcome back. I think this is episode 4, so we've been kind of knocking these out, trying to get a little more interest. So today we went to the mall. I don't know if you've been to the mall lately, but it's crazy. I've noticed this before, but I really let it sink in today. You go through the mall, maybe it's different where you are, right? But in this big city that I go to of 50,000 people, right? The mall, over half the stores are closed. So let that sink in. I guess there's Amazon, but think about the kind of social culture that we've lost. When I was a kid, I used to skip school. I would take a what do they call it? A mental health day and go with my friends to the mall. And every one of those stores had stuff going on. And you could, we were poor. We worked at Walmart pushing carts, most of the guys I hung with. And but we could go there and get action figures, not toys, from, the comic book shops and play video games at the arcade. And there's a Great Dane that once in the room. Anyways, another that has nothing to do with this, right? I'm not going to get into that, but I did see there's a place there that sells comic books, and they had a bunch of comics that I guess don't sell, so they had them in a clearance for $1, and I thought, hey, I'm always looking for something. I can find something to talk about in pretty much anything, so. Just going to go through some of these comic books. I picked up a couple of them, and we'll just see if any of them have any topics. Okay. This. Okay, and I tried to get... I think I might have got some from the same publisher, not just Marvel or DC. I got some Image, maybe some Dark Horse. I think this is from Kitchen Sink Comics. I've never heard of Kitchen Sink Comics. But if you see here, it's got a pig man, which, all right, before I even open this up, let's get into that, right? So, get into some of that out there stuff. I believe, and I think that there's a lot of stuff that would back this up, that Greek mythology, right, is actually more real than we would than we believe. So, if you study the Bible and a lot of the church culture, especially the Western image of what a Christian should be, it's a very I'm trying not to use the word castrated, but it's a very toned down and tamed version of what first century Christianity was, or what following God was throughout all of history. So, I believe that the world has it backwards in every way. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like as above, so below. There's a way it is for real, and then there's a way it has been inverted, right? So, like for instance, the secular version of creation, their mythology, their crazy creation story is that, and I'm not going to get into it because I am very aware that for anything there has to be if there's something and you find a negative to the something and the sum total is 0, the God equation or whatever, then somehow you can wrap your do mental gymnastics to say that, oh, nothing, it's not a big deal that everything came from nothing, because there's anti-nothing over here. So, the world would say that everything was born in chaos, just this big explosion of energy and matter expanded into space, and space-time was created, and there was nothing but chaos, and everything just flew around, and it was order from destruction, the old Illuminati adage, and then over time everything became more ordered. the Bible gives a stark contrast to that God made everything in perfect order. Man brought sin into the world, which created entropy. And so what we're seeing is everything degrading from, becoming chaos from perfection. And, so everything was born in order. The world says born in chaos. The world says that secular science says that everything's going to die in a heat death. Everything's going to freeze. That's what's going to be the end of the world. That the stars will keep on going till they go out, and stuff's going to dissipate, and entropy is going to reach a point to where nothing moves. And there's other theories. There's theories that everything goes to a point to where it implodes on itself, and another Big Bang happens, and we're just one in an iteration of an endless succession of Big Bangs. But the Bible says that the world's going to end in fire. God's going to melt everything down to the elements and start it all over again. So it's always the opposite. And hey, this is just my beliefs, and it's backed up by Scripture, and yes, some extra biblical sources, like the Book of Enoch, which that's there's a lot of very tame establishment Christianity that would say, don't mess around with that. That shouldn't be in the Bible. And I think, well, there is a reason it wasn't in the Bible. And the reason's in the first few lines of the book. It says, this is not for this generation, which is interesting because the Book of Enoch is legitimate. Then this book was written before any book of the Bible. In fact, it was at least the main book, one of the main books. It would have been written by Enoch and brought over through the flood into the pre-flood world. So it's one of the few pieces of literature that survived the flood, and it would be pretty much the first prophecy. But this first prophecy is for the last people. It says, this is not for this generation, but one afar off, which will be living in that great day of the Lord's wrath, which would be, I believe, us. There's a lot of reasons to believe that. I'm not going to get into all of that here. So the Bible talks about the sons of God that came down and saw the daughters of men and took them as wives and bred with them and created the giants, or the Nephilim, right? So we're talking about demigods. We're talking about things that were literally giants. That was probably Goliath and his father and his brethren. If you read the Bible, it goes into there's not just Goliath. There's other giants that David and his mighty men went and sought out and exterminated. With six fingers and 6 toes and anyways, it says that they were there before the flood and they were after the flood too, but that's where Genesis gives a very short account. I believe the Book of Enoch says that they sinned against the flesh of animals too, which would mean that they did what they did to the humans, mixed DNA. They did to the animals too, mixing DNA. And the Book of Giants, I need to get my hands on this. I know a little bit about it, but I'm pretty sure that it says that it goes further into that they took. Not just that it says that they sinned against animals, but they mixed them with humans and made actual minotaurs and centaurs and what are the goat people that play flutes? Mr. Tumnus, satyrs. Yeah, so they made all those things, and those things may have existed, And so, yeah, you get a lot of the Nephilim may be representative, or the demigods in mythology. A lot of the mythology has biblical roots, like Prometheus brings fire from the gods and gives it to mankind, just like Satan always portrays himself in all these different myths and religions as the savior. He's the one that brought knowledge to us. He helped us become gods, So anyways, right there you got the pig man. this guy might be not too far from what may have existed at one point. Maybe not. Maybe you think I'm crazy. I don't care. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's really good artwork in this. I mean, it's almost painted. I don't know if you can see that. I was going to try to have a camera on here, but the other camera battery was dead. All right, this is like a Western. This is cool. I'm not promoting this at all because it might have some pretty dark stuff, but it actually looks like a pig dude and post-apocalyptic Wild West shooting some carbines with it's pretty much this might be from the Book of Boba Fett, from Freetown. All right, let's see what's next. Let's get another one. Also, I don't know how good this is going to work. I'm using a new mic here. I've always liked this mic better. This is an older mic that I've had. I'm not testing the record. This is the test for the recording. So, hey, why don't we try a little ASMR? Let's get the rat out. I always thought it would be. So my daughter has a rat, and just put it right here for a second. So this has got this rat here, and it rides on your shoulder sometimes. And sometimes when it's eating, it sounds pretty cool. And I'm like, you should do an ASMR channel just this rat eating. So I think something crunchy. ASMR. It's either automatic or autonomous. Automatic sensory meridian response. Okay, here. Right on my shoulder. Get this chip bag out of the way. And I hope you can hear that as good as I can. That's a little harsh. Okay, there we go. Rat eating chip, everybody. Here we go. Hush Puppy is his name. Her name. All right. What do we got? This is a Dark Horse comic. I always liked Dark Horse. There were some things, I liked a lot of the darker things. I was into Spawn, that's Image, when I was a teenager. And Dark Horse had a lot of Aliens and Predator stuff. I think it was Dark Horse. They had Batman versus Predator. That's one of the best comic series ever made right there. DC had Lobo. This is my life. And I'm telling you, not stuff that I would promote as a Christian or even as an adult. Some of it's still pretty cool. I like comic books. Some of it's probably some stuff that you might not want to mess with that much. So this is Blackwood. And it's got a strong black female lead, it looks like right there, with some bug demon creature. I need to see when this is written. We like to think, 2018. And it looks like it's about bug infestations. Just like this thing right here. It's a bug. A lot of bugs. I guess we can talk about, the Book of Revelation. In the end time prophecies, how a lot of people have a lot of they're very founded in what they believe in time prophecies. So a lot of people will say, you can't be a Christian if you don't believe in the rapture. Well, I'm just a dude that came to Christ a little over. I came back to Christ. I started living for Christ again about 8 years ago, and I decided to throw out all the preconceptions and read the Bible. Get that Great Dane away from the door. Read the Bible and try to understand it not through the vision of people who have made a lot of had a lot of success and gained a lot of power and a lot of prosperity, but read it how it's meant to be read through the context of what it was read through. So I have a hard time finding the rapture. I see where some people see it, and I am not 100% sold either way, I'll tell you. But I think that that like a lot of times when I hear people talk about the rapture, like, well, we don't have to worry about that because we won't be here. And I'm thinking that is a very that's a very Western, but also a very one of the advanced country ways to think of it. Some country that's so prosperous that they think that being poor is what most countries would think being rich is, like America. And it's like, why? I read this book called, I believe it's called Tried by Fire, and it's kind of like Fox's Book of Martyrs, I guess, but it mainly deals with the first, at least 3 centuries of the church. And man, there was Christians, especially in some of the, not talking about later than Nero. You had, especially in I think the 3rd century, you had some a time where Christian persecution was beyond what you can believe. It was like Holocaust level. They were doing things to Christians to try to outdo what other people had done to Christians, torturing women, children, doing horrible things. And there's one story, and it's this guy uses references for everything, so it's more believable than some of the things that I've heard with no references. And it was about all these Christians used to meet out, in this field, and the governor of the province or whatever decided to capture all these Christians. They were going to kill them. They were going to burn them to death or something. And they got the word out, and then people still kept coming to meet and worship God. And this woman was walking by with their child, and they were like, "Woman, no, you got to get out of here. You know what they're going to do to the Christians?" And she said, "Yes, but I am a Christian. I have what else would I do? I would have to lie to myself not to go, So there's people right now, like in this world, that are probably okay. Yeah, they don't have a 3,000 square foot house on 20 acres and travel trailers and new cars and because God sure has blessed me." Well, that's great if God blesses you, but that's no indicator of how much of a Christian you are. There's people that live in dirt that give what little they have to service to God and risk their lives to tell other people about God. And you're telling me they're less favored by God than you? There's a lot of stories about the guy with the rich raiment and jewelry, and the guy with nothing comes into the church, and which one you should honor. Anyways, so in the book of Revelation, you got all these things coming up out of the ground. The insects that sting, and boils, and a lot, and I'm not. I haven't read it recently. I just know that when some of these plagues come out, it says they are given power to harm those who aren't sealed by God, those who aren't Christians. Get into that stuff later. Hey, look, there's a guy with boils on his hand, just like I was talking about. Skeletons. Oh, that's sweet. They're skeletons having a romantic evening, and there's a little butterfly, and their reason and the reason it is doomed. Whatever, I'm out of context. Okay, let's see what else we got. 1 million. Okay, so this is from DC, and I had to get this thing just because it says 1 million. That's all it says. It says 1 million, 1 million. Has a little eye down there, all-seeing eye. Let's see what. Oh, so we're in the classics. There's a Superman in here. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like some Justice League type stuff. But here we go. Here's a dude with his eyes been pulled out, and then there's a giant eye sun planet coming after him, like Bill from Gravity Falls, but not a triangle. That's kind of disappointing. Give me another one, because it's like, yeah, Superman, awesome, yeah, Superman. So the way I think about politics, it's not a good show, at all. If I watch some stuff that I probably shouldn't watch, trying to find underlying meanings and hidden things and The Boys. I try to. Anyways, The Boys is how I feel about politics, how I feel about celebrities. There's the way they look, all of them. It's not the way they actually are, and most of these people you wouldn't want anything to do with. So this is kind of like a John Wick cover. This dude looks like he's wearing all white, but his pants are all stained with blood, and he's got a monkey wrench, and there's a lot of little demon guys down at the bottom. Image Comics, because this guy's not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities, and blah blah blah. So the artwork looks kind of Samurai Jack style. I was kind of not expecting that. Very very subdued. A lot of warm colors, a lot of reds, and looks like a bunch of this dude's punched in the face, and it looks like that's most of what there's. There's a lot of just pictures of this dude getting punched. Oh, there he is getting punched in the face. So nothing much is going on except for this dude getting punched in the face. He's just more pictures of him being punched in the face. He's already punched in the face at this point. I would like to get into that, but he's not even beating up these demon people. But there we go. There's a segue into firearms. So I'm not going to get deep into this right now, but I will say I am not fanatical about firearms. What one time was. I will say, I don't particularly have any problem with open carry, which is legal in a lot of states. It's legal in my state. The problem I have with it is most of the time the people you see open carrying are the token, the poster boys for people who shouldn't open carry. It's like they're the most extreme examples of who shouldn't be carrying firearms. So what I'll say about firearms is there's so many times that, especially our government, should be very concerned when the government tries to take firearms away from the citizenry in this advanced civilization. And you say, well, there is this argument that Second Amendment is for so first the argument is they're way too powerful. You can kill so many people. It's so dangerous. And then when you say, well, that's what the Second Amendment's for. It's for us to protect ourselves from the government. You could never overthrow. You could never stand up against the government with some ARs and stuff. They have tanks and Afghanistan. But my point is, over the last year, I've read a lot of these books of stuff that actually happened. The rape of Nanking, what the Japanese did to the Chinese, it's one of the worst things that probably has ever scarred this corrupted, sorry planet. The Holocaust, not just the Holocaust, but there's, I've read stories of these Eastern European countries between the Soviets and the Nazis, when the lines were moving back and forth, and especially towards the end, Hitler's main goal was just to create mayhem. And these Nazi-backed, pretty much roving bandits that would go through and raid these towns and do unthinkable, horrible things to the people. So Nanking, and the Nazi invasions, and there's a ton of examples in African countries where if the citizenry, the regular citizenry, was armed. See, right at Nanking, right, when the Japanese came in, they had soldiers to protect them. They're country soldiers. But the soldiers were like, whoa, we're not messing with the Japanese. So they gave up all their guns and all their arms and turned themselves in, and the Japanese went out and killed them all. And then they did whatever they wanted to the citizens, the artisans, the merchants, the daughters, the children, the babies, horrible things that they didn't even think twice about doing, because they knew they could walk into any house and do anything they could to anybody without meeting a barrel to the front of their face. These raids at on these towns, right? They could just roll in. Just a lot of times the townspeople outnumbered them by quite a few multiples, 10-1 or more, right? But they could just do whatever they wanted because the citizens, they might have a knife or a pitchfork or a rock or whatever, but they had guns. The only thing you can do to protect yourself against the gun is have a gun. So I am very pro armed citizenry. It makes everybody safer in the worst case scenarios. I'm also for promoting mental health in a country. That's that's a problem we have. But that's all I'm going to do today. Didn't have a lot of cool things going on in the background and whatever, but I'll keep doing it, and we'll see what we get into next time. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribe, or share. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.